What's happening, guys? Coming to you from DOWN4SOUND and in this video I'm going to be answering the frequently asked question of why did you start Down4Sound, or how did the idea come about for starting Down4Sound? So we're going to get into that. Alright guys, so this could be a pretty lengthy video, but I get asked this a lot, so I'm going to try to answer it as best as I can. So in a prior video, we did a video on how did the name start Down4Sound. So we took care of that, and it made people want to know how did it turn into a business. So as you guys know, well, some of you have been following me for a very, very long time, and you've been with me since day one. So you've seen the transition of how the forum was, and then it turned into a business and everything like that. The way that there's two different ways that kind of the business Down4Sound got started. So one of them was I was trying to do a build, and it's kind of one and the same, but it's kind of two different alleyways that came into one. So if a lot of you follow me on Facebook now, you probably have seen a guy named Scotty Johnson. A lot of people say he's my dad, and we make the joke about it. But back in the day, when the forums were popular, Scotty was dismantling. He was a really big competitor, and he was dismantling one of his competition vans that he had. And I had bought wire out of his old van because I was broke as anything back then, and I was trying to put together my new build. So I was trying to buy stuff used off of the forums, and it turns out I bought some wire from him, and he started following me on Facebook. And I don't even think I realized this or knew this, but as my Tahoe started to grow and the popularity started to grow, I wanted to get a bigger system with it. So I'm like, man, I really need some wire to do this new build with. So I'm like, let me reach out to Excess Power and see if they would be interested in doing some sort of sponsorship, because I was going to all these shows, I was making YouTube videos and everything. So I'm like, let me reach out to them. So I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, I'm looking to get a sponsorship or some sort of help on some wire to get my build going. So would you be interested in doing that? And he messages me back, and he's like, or he emails me, I can't remember which one it was, but so I call him and I'm like, hey, I was just giving you a call to see what we can do about the sponsorship on the wire, if anything. He said, well, I don't really have a problem with that. I'd love for you to run our wire, but what about you doing your own brand of wire? And I'm like, I'm just speechless, just like I am right now. I'm like, what? Why me? The biggest question was why me, and because I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know anything about selling stuff or anything like that. So I'm like, I don't know. Basically, I ended the conversation with him as I'll think about it. And a little bit before that, I'd always been going to shows. Like, I was going to shows all over the place, and I was at a show in, you already know about it because we post videos about it every year in Biloxi, Mississippi, called Scraping the Coast. But I was going to all these shows, and people kept asking me, where do you get your equipment from? And I would just say, since I was somewhat sponsored by Sundown Audio and Excess Power on some batteries, or maybe that came later. Anyway, I was getting a little bit of deals on this product because I had a following. I was providing value back to them. That's another thing, really quick. If you're asking some company for a sponsorship or potential sponsorship, the only way that they're going to do this is, I made a whole video on how to get sponsored by car audio companies, but the only way that they're going to do this is if they know they're going to get some sort of return on investment by doing a deal with you. So they're looking for the ROI. That's any company that's always looking for an ROI, because that's what makes a business run, your return on investment. Like when I approached the companies, they would take a chance with me because I would approach them with, hey, this is my name, I have a YouTube following, I go to all these shows, I would show them pictures or videos from all the shows I went to, I get all these views, I have a lot of engagements with people in car audio, blah, blah, blah. So that's how I pitched them on taking a chance with me to sponsor me. So the more that I kept going to shows, the more videos I kept making, my system grew. And as my system grew, the more people that were at shows wanted to hear it. And when they heard it, obviously the bigger the system, the more impressed they were. And they're like, man, they would get hyped up about car audio. So they would ask me after the demo, where do you get your car audio from? And that's when I would, as a sponsored person, you're supposed to be referring them back to the company that took a chance on you. So I would say, oh, Sundown Audio, like go to sundownaudio.com or whatever. And so I'd point them back there because that was my part of the deal. After going to a bunch of shows, and this same thing kept happening, people, every time they'd hear my truck, where do you get your equipment from? Where do you get your equipment from? And I was at the show, scraping the coast. I don't know how many years ago it was, but somebody asked me after a demo, and it was like the light bulb went off in my head. I could be selling these people this stuff. I could be providing them with what they're looking for. And that's kind of when the idea happened. So that's the two different roads. The one with Scotty Johnson and Excess Power, like the wire kind of sponsorship, and him saying about you should start your own stuff. And it had to be right around the same time. And then me going to the show and that person asking me, where do you get your stuff from? And me having that realization that I could be providing these people with what they're looking for, because obviously I'm making all these videos about car audio. People get hyped up, and I'm letting them in my vehicle. They get super hyped up, obviously, when they get a demo, because their shirt's blowing around, their hair's blowing around, we're blowing out the windshields. Like, it's just a super crazy atmosphere. So people are hyped up about it, and they're looking for how they can get something like that in their vehicle. So I was essentially creating a demand with no way to pacify it or fill it. So that day was when the light bulb went off in my head, like, I could be selling these people this stuff that they're looking for. They're going to go buy it from somebody anyway, so why not buy it from somebody that they've already established a relationship with, either through my YouTube videos or meeting me in person at a show or whatever it may be. So that the collision of those two things, Scotty Johnson at Excess Power saying that I needed to start like my own brand of wire, and also this person, like all these people asking me for so long, like, where do I get this stuff from? That kind of coming together at that time kind of exploded into, I need to start something where I can offer people these products. What's happening, guys? If y'all enjoyed all the hot content that you saw in that video, be sure to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram under the Lifer Price, and also Down for Sound Shop on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget Snapchat. I'm JP D4S on there, so be sure to check me out there. We'll see you in the next one. Later.